you, so I don't know, becoming a regular or something.
Hey, listen, is it me? Do I detect a slight accent on your end? Is that on my end, or do you have a slight accent?
You're so funny, Tom. You well know I was born in Glasgow.
Okay, and the reason I want to ask you that is before we get into Walker Industries and your support for the Niagara Children's Center, just did a story about poutine, and Quebec wants to protect poutine as make it authentic, make sure it's going to be the next big trend after sushi and tacos, right? Coming from Glasgow. And by the way, Glaswegian, is that the name for someone from Glasgow?
That you're absolutely correct, Tom. It's like you researched it beforehand.
Off the top of my head, my friend, Glaswegian just is stuck in there. What is one food that is authentic Glasgow or even that part of Scotland that you can't really find anywhere else? Oh, they try, right? I don't know. Listen, I enjoy haggis, but I don't know if the haggis I eat is anywhere close to Glaswegian haggis. What's one or two foods from Glasgow or Scotland you just can't find over here?
I would say the most common dish served at dinner, maybe 20, 30 years ago, was what we call mince and tatties, which is basically ground beef with carrots and a lot of salt and mashed potatoes. It's very satisfying.
Well, it's kind of like shepherd's pie, but not layered. Is it just kind of mixed up, or does it start as shepherd's pie?
It's exactly like shepherd's pie, except it's all just spread out on a plate.
Right,
So
and you can't
it's a little
find
easier
a
to
good
make than shepherd's pie, and it tastes
yeah, and nothing over here. Can't find it over
crazy.
here. Nothing. Does your wife make it at all? Do you
Oh,
make
well,
it?
my wife made it last. She made it last. I can make it, but she made
Okay.
it last night, and she didn't eat it. So that'll tell you everything about how good it actually is.
Listen, on a more serious note, Walker Industries has come aboard this year for the Help Kids Shine campaign. You guys, though, throughout the history of this company, and I don't know if you can give us a brief outline. This company goes back in Niagara. How many years? 150 years or so?
Yeah, I mean, we can have a debate about the actual timing, but it's at least 130, maybe a little longer than that. So yeah, a long, long time in Niagara, that's for sure.
All
Fifth,
right, and
fifth generation of ownership for the
yeah,
Walker family.
what was it originally as a company? What did they originally set out to do? What was Walker original mission?
So I can see out my window here to the left to what was a cut stone plant, but we converted it into something else. So the original quarry was probably 1,000 feet east of me right now in Thorold, and they mined cut stone. And that cut stone was put on a railway here, actually, down to the lake and ferried across the lake to Toronto. And obviously, they mined aggregate here. So the whole stone business was the gestation of it. John Walker was a Scottish stonecutter.
Wow. And so from cut stone, aggregate, and then it kind of developed into sort of, I guess, not a conglomerate, but a lot of different industrial processes. I mean, you're the executive vice president of the environmental division. How did that start up? Like, was that just because there was a lot of byproduct, or there was an opportunity that the company saw?
Yeah, I think the company saw back in the 70s and 80s the opportunity to do things like recycling oil. And they obviously had a quarry, a mined out quarry here. And the steel mills in Hamilton were in need of somewhere to put some of their waste materials, and they started their first landfill here. And then, of course, the focus of the company now in terms of environmental work is really resource recovery. So trying to avoid putting stuff in landfill, but that's basically how it got started. First line landfill was started here in 1982. And of course, that end of the company's grown remarkably in the last 10, 15 years.
You and I chatted just a couple of weeks ago on your landfill biogas project that you're looking to replicate across Canada, and it's different. You reminded me, no, not the same type of project, about what you're supplying the GM plant with. I mean, there's lots of really interesting kind of cutting edge recovery green energy projects that Walker's part of.
Yeah, we got into that business probably initially, as I said to you, piping gas to the Resolute paper mill in Thorold. And as a result of that, started building landfill gas projects really across the country, principally in Ontario. But we do work across Canada in that area. We're just in the middle of looking at a larger project, and I think I told you for the city of Winnipeg. So lots of exciting stuff going on from a green energy perspective. So it's fun to work here because, not a lot of companies talk about the environment and sustainability. This one really believes in it, and the people at the top and the people at the very bottom understand that that's their primary focus, and it makes it a fun and exciting place to work.
Well, a lot of companies talk about it, but you're like a company that this is your business. You do something about it, right? Lots of companies want to be sustainable. Lots of companies want to talk about their green record, and it's like, okay, what did we really do? But that is the thrust of your business. This is your business, really.
Yeah, I think when we used to go to a conference every 2 years in Vancouver called Globe. It's really focused on the environment. And I would say 10 years ago when I first started going, a lot of companies looked like they were greenwashing, so talking about it but not doing much. And of course, we always wanted to do things. And I see a lot more corporations these days actually doing things and making it part of their core mandate. So I'm hopeful that we're going to make a big impact from a climate change perspective and greenhouse gases. People are actually doing things now rather than just talking about them.
Yeah, it's gone beyond theoretical and concepts to practical and what we can put in place now. That we're as you said, maybe 10 years ago, a lot of greenwashing and a lot of projections. This is what we'd like to do. Now there are lots of companies. This is what we're really doing. I talked to a company not long ago, Li-Cycle, who recycles lithium-ion batteries and is going to develop a plant in Arizona for 20,000 vehicles. They're out of Mississauga. There's a company actually doing something, right? Yeah. They have proven technology. They got other plants, one in Rochester, one in Kingston. So there's a company that sees a niche. And it was interesting talking to them. They started on the battery side and realized there's a big problem at the other end. Maybe if we solve that problem, we can get to a better spot. Listen, we can talk green all day, but I want to talk to you about your commitment this year to the Help Kids Shine campaign. And Walker Industries is a matching donor for monthly donations. So if someone makes a $20 donation, you're going to match it. And then we have another partner, Freedom Mobile, who's also going to match it. So you can take and leverage $20 and turn it into $60. What is it about the Niagara Children's Center that resonates with Walker Industries as a facility or an institution in Niagara that you wanted to get behind?
Well, I mean, I think all of these types of facilities, including Niagara Children's Center, are incredibly important to this community. And of course, we had a very persuasive chair of campaign, yours truly, Tom McConnell, talking to me about the fact that this was a great cause. And I imagine many, and I don't know this for sure, but we still have, a couple of hundred or more employees in Niagara. I'm sure a lot of people have used that facility over the years, and I'm acutely aware of friends and relatives that have access to services there. So we get as a corporation that it's really important to support these kind of activities. So we're glad to be the matching sponsor for this year. It's awesome to be part of it.
Yeah, and when I look at it, and I often describe, and maybe this resonates with you in terms of Walker, where a lot of people hear the name but not sure what goes on. And Niagara Children's Center, it's kind of a vague name. And their building is not the biggest or the brightest or the flashiest. There's not a neon sign out front. It's like this nondescript brick building turned sideways across from Brock. You pass it 1,000 times, and you don't even realize what happens there.
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with some of the programs. I'm not sure if they still have them, but they used to do a lot with linguistics and kids that had difficulties in that area. And I'm acutely aware of some of the differences that these programs can make in kids' lives, especially at an early stage. So, yeah, it's great to be part of something like that. And of course, all the rehab stuff as well. So it's just amazing what these kind of groups can do, and we're happy to support it for sure.
Yeah, and when you look at Walker's commitment to the community, and here's a facility that I think, according to Director of Development Marla Smith, approximately 6,000 families access the center every year. And whether it's communicative, whether it's a physical disability, whether it's a developmental delay, I talked to a mother just yesterday whose daughter has a rare genetic disease that only a handful of people in Canada has, right? So we have this wide range of super rare to much more common. The Children's Center is there to help these families, get the best out of their children, which is, I think something we can all help get behind.
Yeah, and it's kind of, you got to think of it, Tom, as a bit of a respite for parents with children with issues. Because I can't imagine what it's like trying to homeschool a kid that has other issues that that he or she has got to deal with. So it must be fabulous for parents, given the last year that we've gone through, to still be able to access services in some fashion through the Niagara Centre. So it's tremendous work they do, that's for sure.
Listen, on behalf of the Niagara Children's Center, thanks so much for the matching donation, the involvement from Walkers. It is much appreciated. One last question before I let you go. Interesting, did you think you'd see, because you're also, on a side note, chair of the Niagara YMCA board, they're really, I don't know how you take it, but I'm like, I would be encouraged in a way to see this sort of community commitment to be like, hey, hold on. We want to be heard. We think we have a solution here. What's the latest on the Walker family Y in St. Catharines?
Yeah, I mean, the board, based on their financial situation, and I've talked to various people about this on the air recently, is still committed to looking at the sale of Walker. Because we need to be able to sustain the other programs. We can't bankrupt childcare because of health and fitness. We can't bankrupt employment services because of health and fitness. So we need to find a solution.
To sustainability.
We're not done in terms of absolutely, and we need to. So we're committed to that process. Now it could be somebody comes out of the woodwork that means that we could actually end up occupying that building for a longer period of time, pre-development, or maybe even longer than that. So we're just looking for creative ideas from people through the real estate process. And if we get one that is better for the community and can help preserve part of that building or all of it for some of the uses that we've been traditionally using it for, then that's great. So let's see what comes out of that RFP process with the real estate group that we're working with, and we'll report back to you and let you know.
When are you expecting that report to be completed?
We should be first week of June is the schedule for people to come forward with ideas and offers. So we'll have a lot more to talk about probably by the end of June. And
awesome.
Happy to come back on and talk about it.
Look forward to it. Listen, Michael, I'll leave it there. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks to you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks to the fine folks over at Walker Industries, your entire team over there. As you said, 5th generation of Walkers now, with ownership and running things. So thanks so much. Much appreciated. Have yourself a great night.
Thanks, Tom. Take it easy.